Is your spouse constantly double booking you for things? Can't remember if today is your day to drive the neighborhood kids to soccer practice? Looking for a time when all the stars align so you can actually take a vacation? If this sounds like you need the best family calendar app out there. So today I'm going to talk about how Mauricio and I use Cozi to organize our family schedules, how it may have actually saved our marriage, and about the one thing that makes the Cozi app a better family calendar app than any other out there. And no, Cozi is not paying for me to say this. I just love it so much that I had to share. Hi, I'm Wendy Valencia. Today we are totally geeking out on organizational systems, and organization and planning is legit my very favorite thing to talk about. I know, I'm such a dork. But seriously, I am a self-proclaimed organization and planning guru. I know, I think highly of myself. But my dear husband, Mauricio, not so much. Mauricio not keeping a calendar or a schedule was quite possibly the number one source of drama in our marriage. I felt like he was always making plans when we already had something on the schedule, and it would legit drive me crazy. I would get so frustrated and upset, and inevitably I would end up screaming. But Mauricio wasn't born with the planning gene that I have, so I knew that if I needed him to change, I was going to have to train him in the things that I wanted him to do. And boy, did he ever change. He is so amazing about the calendar now, and gone are the phone calls where he's asking me what we have on the agenda for the day. It was actually pretty easy to get Mauricio on board. First, I had him do all the research and let him pick the app that we were going to use. I honestly, legitimately did not care as long as we used an app that had a calendar that we both had access to, and that he could input stuff and I could input stuff. And really, our only requirement was that it had both a web-based and phone-based access. Since we both work in places where we can't have our cell phones during the day, we needed it to be accessible by the internet as well, not just by our cell phones. So that was key for us. Other than that, I could have pretty much used anything. So I just let him do the research and choose the one he liked. And after a lot of research, he decided that Cozi was by far the most highly rated and the most popular, and that it would most likely work for us. And once he decided, I began uploading everything. And trust me, I mean everything. And now we have a rule that if there are two competing events, the one that was in Cozi first is the one we actually do. And actually that rule pushed Mauricio to put things in immediately so that he can actually do his things sometimes before I plan him activities to do. Not gonna lie, I do that a lot for him. So before we get into it, I'll put a link down in the description box, and in the effort of full disclosure, it's an affiliate link, so anyone that signs up with it, I think I get like a penny. But hey, a penny is still money. So if you are interested, go ahead and click on that link. I legit love it. So let's go through Cozi so you can see what it is I am talking about, and then I will explain the one thing that has made me love Cozi. This is Cozi, and no, obviously I'm not going to let you into my family's actual Cozi calendar because you don't need to see where we are at any given point in time. So today I'm going to create a fictitious account. But so you are aware, we do pay for Cozi Gold, the upgraded version, and we think it is 100% worth every cent for multiple reasons, but I'll get into that more later. So I'm gonna put in my YouTube email address for this one and fill out all the necessary items. The first thing you should do is add the adults and children to your list. These names will become important later when you start assigning tasks, and the email addresses are important for alerting people to the day's tasks and any changing tasks. So if your kids are old enough to have their own email address, go ahead and put them in but make sure you put your spouse's email address because you're going to use it. You can even add a caregiver, like maybe a nanny or an au pair, or you could even add an assistant if you're lucky enough to have one. I need an assistant. So the one thing I want you to note about Cozi is that maybe your significant other is already using Google Calendar for maybe work or whatever, but you like Cozi for all the extras that it has. You can actually use the two programs together. And of course, Cozi is app-based too, so they're both fully integrated. So any changes that you make on the web are immediately noticeable on the app. Here's a good point where I can briefly talk to you about Cozi Gold. You can see that there is a free version and a paid version. The paid version is so worth it for two reasons. First, no advertisements, because that's key. We actually used the free version for a really long time before we upgraded, and I will never go back. The ads get really, really old really, really quick. But hey, I get that they have to make their money somehow. And with Gold, you can actually set multiple notifications to send as reminders. Like maybe you send one 3 days before to remind you that the event is coming up. And maybe you send one an hour before so you can start getting ready for it. It's up to you when you want to be reminded. But the free version does allow one notification. We actually use the notifications for really, really important things that can't be missed. And truthfully, I also use it for birthdays to remind me about 2 weeks ahead of time that I need to buy the present. So now let's get into the meat and potatoes of Cozi, their calendar. The default view is the week view, but you can look at it by the day or by the month. And in Cozi Gold, you actually have other views that you can use too. But since this isn't a Cozi Gold account, I can't actually show it to you. But for the most part, I use it by the week view. Cozi comes auto-loaded with all the US holidays, but you can actually change the calendar to reflect your local ones and take out the US holidays if you're not in the United States. So let's go ahead and add an event. For us in the Valencia household, we go to church every Sunday. And since we put everything into Cozi, I'm going to add it just like we would here. So first you add in the event and check off the people attending. So Mauricio, Melina, and I all go to church on Sunday, so we click all. Then you pick the date. You can set a one-time event or a reoccurring event. For church, since it happens every single Sunday, we're gonna make it reoccurring by checking the repeats button. One of the reasons I like Cozi is because you can make any combination of repeats. You want it to repeat every third Thursday of the month? Done. Every other Tuesday and Thursday? Piece of cake. Once a year on August 7th, you can actually do that too. There is literally no combination of dates and times and repeating things that you can come up with that Cozi cannot do. Trust me, I have tried to figure it out, but if it repeats, Cozi can do it. So if you want to set something to stop reoccurring, that's easy too. You just program the date you want it to stop. And this is really great for like sports practices that only last for a season or school events that only happen in the school year. You can add the location. You can add the name of the location, or you can actually add the physical address and it'll sync up with Google Maps. And before you worry, I just put in a random address. I actually have no idea what's at this location. It's not where my church actually is. Then, of course, there are reminders. And I mentioned this before. I use them for very important things and for birthdays, which are also important. With Gold, you can set up multiple reminders set for different times. And in the free version, you get one, and it can be any of those times. Notify of changes to the calendar is a great tool because you can let anyone on your Cozi account know via email that you just added or changed an event on the calendar. You can also make an event part of a schedule which groups events together, so like school activities or childcare. And then you can add notes to an existing event, maybe reminding yourself to bring a gift that you agreed to bring or a dessert that you're supposed to bring. Really, anything you want to put in the notes section can go here. Then you hit return and you can see that it added the event to the Sunday you indicated for the event to start. Then if you switch to month view, you can see that it added to every single Sunday in the date range you indicated. But let's say you have another event that is bumping up against July 14th. It isn't a big deal because even though it is part of recurring, it does give you the option to delete the whole series or just the single day. So you can make changes as you need to. So now let's check out the list. There are multiple types of lists, shopping and to-do list. So you just choose the one that best fits your needs. A few years ago, I actually used lists to plan my YouTube videos in Cozi, but now I have a far more complex but oddly more efficient way to manage my videos and blog posts using a program management software, but that is a totally different video for a totally different day. So let's first look at groceries. There are several ways you can add groceries, with the most simple being that you just enter them word by word like these. Since it immediately updates, let's just imagine that I'd sent Mauricio off to the grocery store and all of a sudden I realized that I had forgotten to tell him we needed tomatoes. So I just type in tomatoes and they immediately appear on his iPhone. But the thing that I really enjoy about Cozi is that if you type a word all in caps, it actually will make a section header. So by typing the word produce and dairy in all caps, I'm actually able to sort my grocery list by sections of the store. But this isn't even close to my favorite thing that Cozi does. We'll be getting to that. I mean, seriously, not even close. Just keep waiting. It's pretty awesome. So now let's create our honey-do list. This will be a list of everything that Mauricio needs to do because, you know, I give him a honey-do list all the time. I can add categories for him by capitalizing and dragging and dropping things into the subcategories. So basically, I have effectively prioritized his to-do list, so there is no question as to what he needs to do first, because I'm that awesome of a wife. But more because it's management 101. Never leave your team questioning where your priorities are. If you're clear from the beginning where your priorities are, your team will never fail, and we're a good team. You can even create a journal and send out emails and newsletters from Cozi, but honestly, I don't really use this part, but I can think of some pretty fantastic reasons that you would use it. Like you could keep track of a baby's milestones, or if you write a Christmas letter, you can actually add events here that will remind you of the things that you thought were important throughout the year. And I bet you could probably even send like a Christmas email if you wanted to. You can even add photos to it, and it'll give you a location to find your journal online, and that's either hidden or open. So it's kind of like a website. You can add personal contacts, making them accessible both on your phone and on the web, which, like, for us is fantastic because I don't want to have to look up the doctor's phone number. Maybe I've forgotten the doctor's last name, and so I can just go into the web-based app at work and it's there. You can even add birthdays so you never forget one. So now let's get into my very, very, very favorite part of Cozi, the meal plan. There are several ways you can do your meal plan in Cozi. First, you can just enter what you want to serve, or you can do it a little differently and create an electronic recipe box. I'm just gonna give you the basics here, but I can do a whole video on meal planning with Cozi if you would like. Just leave me a comment down below if that is something that interests you. So let's say I wanna make tacos from a very specific recipe that I have on the internet. So those recipes I usually keep on Pinterest, but my Pinterest gets really clogged up because I've got hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of things on Pinterest. And if you want to follow me on Pinterest, I'll put that link down there in the description box too. So I'm going to go ahead and create this in my electronic recipe box. So I type in the name and a description, and then I go to the website of the recipe that I'm planning on making and copy and paste the link, and voila! Now I always have the link to the recipe, and it's super easy to find and it's super searchable. So then from the recipe, I add the ingredients list, and this is really important to do. You can either enter it by hand or copy and paste from the recipe. You can also add the preparation too, so that if the link ever breaks, you actually have the recipe right there and you don't actually have to go to the link. So then you click save, and this will be the recipe that you will have in your recipe box. And yes, you can subdivide recipes any way that you want and put it in folders. It is amazing. And then check this out. See at the bottom, add ingredients to Cozi shopping list. Just click on that and you choose the list you want to add it to. Then you can just sort the list into categories and delete what you don't need, and you just go shopping with that list. Seriously, this was a game changer for me, and I didn't even know it was an option when we first signed up. So in case you can't figure it out, I cannot recommend Cozi highly enough. I highly, highly, highly recommend that you go and click that link down below so that you can sign up for Cozi and I'll get my penny. So I'll see you in the next one. See ya. We're out.